gentlemen, welcome. It is 4th of July. Happy 4th of July to all my American brothers out there. I did my patriotic duty. Went to the gun range this morning. That's why I look like shit. Man, I am a happy fucking camper. I got my boy Legendary, and I need milk. You guys have met them both before on the channel. Yeah, we're just going to get right into Foxhole, dude. I'll let these guys introduce themselves, and we're going to dive right in. Go ahead, boys.
Legendary, do you want to go first?
Sure, that's it. What's up, HVL Legendary? Bringing on the fire, bringing on the tremolas, bringing on the havoc. Shout out to 27th and 82 DK, fighting hard in slip chain. I'm coming for all your bases, motherfuckers. It's always good to see everyone. Let's chat about Foxhole.
Well, I might need milk too. I'm an officer of the Pink Regiment, a building-focused regiment, but we kind of do everything all over. Sorry if my mic quality is different from the previous one. I am in the car driving.
It's all good, dude. It's all good, brother, man. So talking about being a building regiment, I do want to state at this time, this is update 61, War 126. I saw one in the comments in a previous video. These aren't going to make sense later on when we're talking about some of this, because some of it might be implemented when you're rewatching this. So just going to start stating this on the podcast. This is update 61, War 126. And that's of today's date, which will be posted in the YouTube video. First question I want to ask you guys. I know you guys have all dabbled in it quite extensively. I have dabbled in it, and I have some ups and downs about it, but I'd like to know what you guys think about the new building and how it actually flows. Now that tanks are in the game, Artie is in the game, the howitzers have been tested, the new rockets, a lot of the changes with the building, besides like the big like nukes and stuff, which obviously aren't going to get retaliation any. We're done with building update, there's no more tech to progress at this stage of the game. So just curious what your guys' thoughts so far on the new building mechanics in the game, how you feel about them. And then after, I'll ask what you don't like about them. So I guess let's go first in what you do. And we'll always just start with Milk first, because I think Legendary likes going last anyway. So, Milk, go ahead.
I'm not sure if there's anything particularly that I like about the building update. To me, it feels really weird, and I have more critiques than I do positive, but I like the howitzer changes. The addition of T1, T2, it makes the game feel a lot more fair, PvE-wise.
Okay.
And when doing rockets, it makes it a lot more fun with the Katyushas. Just because we remember that join up, we did what did we have? 20 rocket trucks firing.
Yeah. By the way, Legendary funded our set of those trucks. All but 3 of them.
Nice.
He funded 6 of those trucks. So.
Gotcha. Also, I hope you don't hear my my navigation. If you do, let me know.
Nope, you sound fine.
Okay, good. Alrighty.
It's fine. We're tracking your movement using WOBs. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm doxing myself. I'm doxing myself for real. But the fact of the matter is, we were shooting at T2 and still getting howitzer repel. Felt like that the builders actually had a chance. Granted, we didn't really take any losses because we were using rocket trucks, but if you had a 120, that 120 is going to have a lot harder time cracking through T2 even.
Yeah. I definitely feel that the building does allow some sort of retaliation. This is going to be one of my nitpicks later on, and I'll talk about this later. But we do get retaliation from howitzers, which is really good. And from tier 1 on, as soon as you get defensive garrisons up, which is a big thumbs up that you're not just going to get away with just spamming gunboats on something that doesn't have the tech yet. You know, it's the builder's fault if he doesn't put howitzers, which is now it's all your responsibility as to being lazy. You know, before you could say, well, I just don't have the tech, I'm fucked. But now it's you're being lazy or you're not thinking the full process through. So that I do think is a very good change. I honestly, I want to hear what Legendary has to say before I'll give my spiel. So go ahead, bub.
Cool. So in terms of just the building side, uh, as predicted, I love it. I'm gonna be honest, I really like it. So just for complete clarity, I am not a sit and meticulously calculate the perfect concrete base and you build it from day 1 to day 30. That's not my thing. Total respect for people who like to play like that. Hats off to you for building M subs for 5 weeks straight. That's not my thing. My particular playstyle when it comes to building, for me, is getting in the dirt, in between the 120s landing around your head, in between those 150s. Every single piece that gets shoveled out is a victory. To me, that is Foxhole. That is Foxhole combat engineering, and I love that. So I'm going to give my opinion from that perspective specifically. So from that perspective, it's awesome because there's a lot more variety in what you can build. We're seeing trenches being used effectively. We're seeing old weapons that used to gather dust after like tier 5 or 6 getting some new life. We're getting more ISGs in the front. We're getting people running shells. It's great. And this is what I hoped this patch would bring. And for the most part, besides all the, some of the balancing things, some small tweaks can happen here and there. I'm pretty satisfied with how things are going. Purely because there's more players involved, there's more people trying things out, and the very front lines, the very, very front lines, I'm talking Victor right now in Faranac Coast. I'm talking about Iron Junction right now in on the eastern side. The big fight for Saltbrook, the big fight for Jade Cove. It's an amalgamation of crazy tier 1, tier 2. It's like a mix of tier 1, tier 2 with a little bit of concrete here and there, like a concrete observation bunker there, like a concrete core here or a concrete artillery shelter here. It's a complete mixing of all of the different tiers, and it's push building. I think it's great, and the devs have given us a lot of tools to fight a lot of different things, and the battlefield is a lot more flexible. Like if there's like 3 outlaws that show up and they form up on the line, there's people like putting up more anti-tank firing ports. There are people building up the anti-tank emplacements. There are people building this. There are people building that. And it's great. I will say that there's been, in terms of logistics, it's been a lot more damning because we've been pumping out a lot more BMATs. And that's purely because I think that people are still figuring it out. Everyone is making mistakes. Everyone is still trying to build halberds, and then, they get the halberd up and then it dies to, 10 rockets afterwards because they don't know exactly how the integrity bonuses work. They don't know what the artillery shelter does. We have people who still don't build engine rooms because they're still fixated on the fact that they think engine rooms reduce integrity, which this doesn't do anymore. So people are still making mistakes, but from the combat engineering perspective, it's been really, really good. I personally love seeing the ISG having life after Outlaws being tagged, because the number one killer of ISGs after light tanks is like Outlaws, like blasting from 45-meter range. But Outlaws can't do that anymore. So now the Wardens have to be pinpoint accurate, and they have to be selective at how they tear apart bunker bases. And it's great. So I actually think that this update was the stronger infantry update than the actual infantry update that we got in December. So for me personally, the building aspect of it is very nice. but there are some problems with some of the weapon balances. A lot of like staple weapons from both sides don't see action at all anymore, because of artillery shelter, because of tier one and tier two howitzers, which are great. I love those, but they have nerfed some weapons, and we've had to shake up our infantry gear. And because of that shakeup, we've seen a lot of new infantry gear come to the front. Flamethrowers are insanely strong right now. Flamethrowers are basically, if you try and push without flamethrowers, you're basically trolling. It's flamethrowers are so fucking good, and it's great. But we're using flamethrowers because we lost fire mortars. We can't use fire mortars anymore. So it's a little bit of give and take. But in terms of building, it's awesome. People experimenting, people are figuring out. New players are fucking up. Veterans are playing fuck up. But there has been some cool designs that come out. It's kind of like a fresh new era of figuring out what the meta has to be. And of course, the guys in the back line that are just conking up, they have lots of time to prepare because the fronts haven't moved, because there's no single bunker base that stays alive for like more than 2 days. That's just the nature of Foxhole right now. Like the fronts, even though they're slow to progress, they're still like moving backwards and forwards on that, like, no man's land spot. And I can't wait for Ranciers to show up, because man, I'm gonna bust some fucking heads in with my boy the Rancier as soon as he takes. Which I'm not gonna say when that is, but hopefully soon.
Yeah. So the one big thing, at least on the East Coast, I'm in Endless Shore with Bone, and fighting Enduring Wake and KRGG. One thing that I am noticing is it. Okay, let me put it this way. Bone loves this update. We obviously, if you guys have kept up with the YouTube channel, or paid attention to any of my streams and stuff, you see I rigorously build bear traps everywhere. I throw them down everywhere I can. Tier 2, Tier 1, Tier 3. We have a ton of them down. We know the build now. We know how to put Howies behind it. Fire suppression systems. We're starting to sub some things out in places. And what I think the biggest thing is that is really cool about this update is what I was kind of hinting at earlier is the modularity, right? And I don't think we've had the modularity this advanced ever. We have never had a position in Foxhole where we can do, fire suppression, engine room, howitzer, all on the same build, because it would completely shatter you in old days, right? And excuse me. Another thing that Legendary was talking about, where you see ISGs coming to the front, and honestly, I see foe breakers and rat catchers and lamentums and tripod weapons getting pushed forward instead of just, now don't push that up because you're just gonna lose it to the enemy, dude. You're gonna lose it in the trench. They're gonna take your trench. It's like you can now push up a fortified 1x1 bunker, get a machine gun in there, get a 30 mil in there, and just make murder lanes, dude. You can make a murder lane. And, then the enemy's team's response to that is they either focus it or go around it. And it's really cool to see how fronts change based on how builders are, tactically, it's kind of, sword fighting. You're moving in different directions. You're balancing out, okay, well, they're doing this. I'm going to set this shit up right here. I'm gonna flood that, and much like you said earlier, flamethrowers, they're getting their mix in. Those used to be a meme. They used to be I'm gonna set a pack up there just to clear a trench and have a haha with the guys. Now it's like you push a flamethrower into the gap, and you might set something on tier 1 fire and suppress it, and then you have a Mammon gang come breach it, and then you have dudes with shotguns coming in and pumping every repairman inside. Havocs are starting to get implemented with smoke grenades. You're starting to see the infantry gameplay just off the building advance But not only that, tanks still shine because, oh, you think that little 1x1's going to stop my 6 tank line? We're going to bomb your shit, roll over you, and I'm gonna flood you now. I'm gonna flood all the armor. I'm gonna focus that point, and you're starting to see this. The tactics, exactly what you're saying. The tactics are changing. The tables are changing. There was 5 days in a row Bone got in a gunboat and went and lit. You said flame mortars aren't it? In gunboats, they're perfectly it. We went and lit one piece on fire, and it caught a whole line on fire. They had no fire suppression. Then we had Marines get on the ground, and you know these thing is, once we did that to them 4 days in a row, they learned. And guess what? We got our ass bit for not having fire suppression. They came and did it to us, and we go, oh fuck, you know. And then that night, boom, we redesigned. Bam, fire suppression, water LTS, underground pipes everywhere to get water to every single one of our systems. Fire truck in the bunker. You know, we're setting things up, and like I said, it's like fencing, dude. It's sword play. Counters, riposts, just building to make your faction stand out. Your faction dominate this area. And you feel when you make those 1x1 bunkers or 3x1 with the thing inside, dude, like, I like to LARP. Everyone knows this. You know, if you watch my stream, if I'm getting in a machine, come on, motherfucker! Da, 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 da. You know, like I'm fucking getting in it, like I'm in a, you know, pillbox shooting down, It's awesome. And it's never been like that. You can't, it's LARP, but it's good. They're making LARP good. They're making, you know, sitting in a bunker with BMATs and gas masks, sitting on a machine gun for 45 minutes, fun. That's like, that's not ever been a thing before. You know, now you're sitting there with BMATs, with gas masks. I will sit here for 45 minutes because I'm going to see 30 wardens dead on the ground. I'm going to mow down like a whole platoon. And it's just cool. You know, now, I do have some suggestions because there are problems with this as well. I've been writing a lot of this stuff down. And, you know, I kind of want to start this one off with one that I just recently learned and I think is, to be honest, Milk touched on it. Howitzers are in the game.
Hold on, hold on, just 1 second. I may start breaking up here. I'm approaching my house and it's kind of a dead zone, so.
You're good.
But go ahead, ask the question.
No, I'm. Now we're going on to the bad stuff of this. Building, and I kind of don't want to. You know, we went down the line, then we'll go down the line the other way. But this is the main one I want to talk about, and a lot of people might not like this. Some people might. I don't know how, you know, this is going to be taken. I sat in a gunboat, a collie gunboat, and I out DPS'd a howitzer on a full-blown big chunk-ass piece in my gunboat. I was able to out-rep.
What tier was
it was tier 2. It was tier 2 on the full piece.
Okay.
But the fact that the howitzers are so inaccurate that a gunboat can fully kill a tier 2, like, and I'm talking a blocky-ass piece. This is not like some low HP stuff. Gunboats, I could not believe how strong they were with how often howitzers miss. You can only build so many howitzers in so many different ways, and there's only so much area you can build. For howitzers, they had coverage on it, and we still outdid them. It was almost like the howitzer wasn't even there, dude. It got us to like 85% a few times, and with a full gunboat crew, we killed the full piece before the howitzer could even kill us. It barely decrewed us. The howitzers, people are complaining about the Collie 120 with howitzers and how the Warden one being entrenched is, you know, so OP and stuff. build sandbags around it, dude, and you'll be fine. You might get decrewed once or twice, but I'm telling you, howitzers are not that scary. They kill your structures around your shit more than they're gonna kill your actual guns. They're so inaccurate. Like, we had 120s by a bunker base before. We saw it. It was 404th doing 120 by a bunker base, and the howitzers were retaliating so far off. They were on the road's here, right? They're on this side of the road, and the bunkers back here, it was hitting the bunker. It was a horrible dispersion, and they shot round after round after round, and fine. It's actually so lucky when you do get one to land directly on the guns. I don't know if the howitzers, unless they're grouped up, but the problem is it's one shot for one retaliation. So it's a really weird situation that I'm asking for howitzers not to be more accurate, but it's weird that I can out DPS a full piece head on with a gunboat. I do get where people are talking that the entrenchment bonus on the Warden 120 has 3,000 HP, and the HP, but with the 120 or the howitzers being so inaccurate, I just don't know how I feel about it. Like, I've been a base owner. I've had 120 hit my base. I've had howitzer traps, and they've retaliated. But right now, like, I'm going to be real with you, 120s never used to duel howitzers, and you know that, right? They never dueled 120s,
Yep.
never dueled howitzers. It's a common occurrence right now. It's happening on every front. Every single front, 120s are getting shot by howitzers, or vice versa. And they're dueling it just fine.
But
I'm just saying it's not necessarily a critique. It's an observation, and I think not necessarily it needs to be like OP or nerfed, but I want almost a little bit better because, like I said, I don't feel like one gunboat should outdo an RDP or a howitzer. You know what I mean? And the only way to do that, I feel like, would be accuracy, and that's where I'm kind of.
But here's the question though. Here's a question for it though, Bear. Before this update, what is the real reason why people build howies and used howies in their bases though? I feel like the true nature of howies really haven't changed. Like, for example, when we fought howitzers, placed 150, in placed 120 inside of an octagon, and you shoot it and you repair, and you shoot it and you repair. The point of the howitzers was never really to kill the gun. Not really. Sometimes, if there's like 6 guns sitting on top of each other and you hit a howie trap and everything gets shot and you forget to repair one and it might die, maybe that happens. But howitzers, in my opinion, have never been you destroy the gun that's shooting you. It's always been you flatten the ground underneath, like next to it, and you destroy the pallets of ammo, and you destroy the storage rooms full of 120 shells that they're loading from, or you're just destroying Logi or the general area around it. So I get that you were probably able to out trade with a gunboat, but to me, I still think that's fine, just because I think that's the whole point of the howitzer is not necessarily to outright kill the gunboat unless they really fuck up. Like, they hit like multiple howitzers or multiple howitzer pieces across multiple meta pieces.
We were able to outduel.
It sounds fine to me. I'm gonna be honest with you. It sounds fine to me. We
were able to outduel 3 at one time.
Okay, well,
and I can show you the clip.
Say anything here, Mister. I'm not gonna say anything here, Mr. Sir, but gunboats literally got nerfed today because of reasons.
Well, I know that, but I am just saying, being able to repair out on the water. Mainly, my complaint right now is, did they take it away?
No, you can still do it, but it costs way more, and the Warden gunboat got fucking shafted. the cost to repair the Warden gunboat is like so what they did is the amount of BMATs required to bring it up to max HP went from 150. So if you're like on 1% HP to go all the way to 100, you need to invest 150 BMATs to fill that bar. Kali gunboat went from 150 to 185. So you need 35 more BMATs. Warden gunboat went to 250 BMATs.
Yikes. That's good though.
And
That's good for
dude,
Kali.
That's kind of, dude. I'm
So-
not gonna
so
lie, they're almost
essentially-
flipping the gunboat fucking meta. Like, god damn,
Not-
the Kali gunboat's
not-
still like, fuck.
So you could still repair on the water, which I think is fine for now. But there was some again, the patch hasn't landed perfect yet.
Well, that's what I'm
Siege
saying.
Code needs
That's
to
a
do a
lot
bit
of
of
this
tweaking. They need to do a few
Yeah.
more things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm
But
saying. You know, a lot
I
of the
think
stuff,
this is yeah.
a lot of the stuff, you know, and for the viewers or anyone kind of tuning in, when we talk about this stuff, like, and I mean this in the most wholehearted way, I don't want an unbalanced gameplay. I want a solid, smooth, even. You know, I want both sides to have their tricks, both sides to have their fun. You know, I was actually meaning to nerf gunboats in general because, like I said, we fucking dunked on 3 big pieces at the same time, and we should have got punished, I felt like, but we were fine. And I don't know, man. Like, it's more the howitzer tweak, and I do get what you're saying. You know, it's meant to decimate the area around, but again, the biggest issue I have, it's the one shot, and only one gun retaliates. I don't necessarily feel like it's the wrong move, but at the same time, I want, when that 150 hits all 4 guns, I want that fucking gun to get punished, dude. You hit the wrong thing, fuck you, dude. You're getting the enchilada, you know what I mean? I want the whole fucking enchilada going at you.
So just along those lines, then would you prefer that if you hit one howitzer trap, like three retaliation shots from 3 different guns go off at once?
That's what I don't know. It's the fucking better of 2 evils. It's either one, the howitzers don't do a lot and it's only 1 gun retal, or at the other half, if you fuck up on the artillery side, how bad do you get fucked? And that's where I'm like, especially with how spammed artilleries are now, you can't go back to that system, because sometimes if you shot 1 artillery shell in the middle of some of these bases, you're getting 20 fucking howitzers at you.
All right, I
man.
think we need to go to Milk Cam. Milk, what do you think? How do you feel?
So-
How do you feel about howitzers and retaliation?
I don't like the way that they're doing it. I mean, it's basically the same thing. I think, I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it 1 gun, 1 howitzer fires, or is it
Yep.
1 gun, 3 shells fire, activates 3 howitzers?
No, 1 gun shoots, hits, it can hit 20 howitzers, only 1 gun's going to retaliate. 1 gun will
I feel
retaliate.
like the devs need
Per
to.
piece.
Yeah,
I,
per piece.
I feel like
Yeah.
the devs need to make it so that if you constantly hit the same piece, it activates more and more howitzers. So in that gunboat scenario, you can't just sit there. You know, say a piece has 20 howitzers on it, right? How many times is it going to take to kill that piece, Berg?
I mean, here's
Like,
the thing,
how
though.
many
If you
mortar
hit,
hits?
hold on, if you hit, like, let's say you hit a piece, like, let's say 4 howitzers on it, and they're all pointing your way, after 4 mortars, all of them would shoot 1 to 3 rounds at you, right?
Yes.
So you can't hit the same piece over and over and over again, otherwise it's going to retaliate. But if you hit,
Yep.
if you hit a, 1 piece, with 20 howitzers on it, and I mean, if it only has 1 howitzer, the pieces we were hitting, it only took like 20, 25 mortars to kill these pieces. And that's not to say what was even crazier was when it got into its breach health. God damn, mortars. Boom, breach. Tap,
Yeah,
boom,
and
breach. And that's where it's crazy.
Berg, is yes, you can make howitzer traps with 20 pieces on it, but you're going to reduce the amount as long as you're firing a gun. So I think there's a good balance in the system that I'm proposing where, yeah, you can take howitzer retaliation. That's a choice, but you're going to breach and you are going to reduce the number of howitzers firing at you. You just need to stick it out. And it's really, okay, we can take breaks and we're just harassing these howitzers, or we can go full on with one gun and say, this is a concerted effort. This is something that we have to focus on repairing our own gunboat, keeping alive, but we're going to kill this piece. So tell me, is it worth it to kill an entire, like a single piece with a gunboat? Or is it better to say, I need a 120 gun firing at this position? We are going to say, on the front line, I should say, that our 120 crew has a skin in the game in pushing the front line versus I'm just a gunboat dilly-dallying around. Let's kill this random-ass piece.
Just got tacos. I guess I'm trying to understand your question here. So, what are you asking, essentially? Because I guess I'm not understanding the question fully.
So, as a gunboat, you hit that piece and you leave, right?
Okay.
So, where were you exactly? And was the front line there? Most important question.
No. This is...
Okay.
We were scumming.
Okay, exactly. So, as a gunboat crew, would you rather take the more howitzer fire, accomplishing nothing on the front line, or would you rather go to a front line and say, "Hey, we need 10 people repairing, but we're going to help the front line push"? I think, in a way, the taking more howitzer shots as you're shooting will prevent like backline sniping for zero reason at all. Like, say the front line is an endless, but you spot a base in Silicon Shelf, and you decide, hey, we're just going to kill this one piece in Silicon Shelf just because we can. Or you can go to the endless where the front line is pushing, you kill the howitzer piece, and you push up the front line.
How does this have anything to do with howitzer?
Well, because I'm saying is the more you shoot at a howitzer, the more you're going to have to make sure you're repairing, the more you activate, right?
Yeah, the more shots you hit on a piece, the more pieces are going to shoot at you, but it doesn't make it more accurate or anything.
If you're shooting at a piece with 20 howitzers with a single gunboat only, right? Why would you shoot the thing in the back for no reason, then go to the front line and shoot that piece? It's going to be the same amount of effort, but it's going to be a lot of effort. And why put the effort into a non-front line?
But this
that makes sense.
But what I'm asking you is, why does this have anything to do with what the devs can do? This sounds like a player choice of what we can do on a front or a back. This has nothing to do with balance and or.
Well, didn't you say the howitzers? It's just one gunboat, only one howitzer retail total.
No. So every shot you shoot onto a piece, fucking piece shoots back. So if I shoot a piece with 20 howitzers and I shoot that piece 20 times, it's gonna shoot all 20 howitzers at my gun.
Is that how it currently works?
Yeah. For every shot, another gun activates.
Mistaken.
Bro,
I am mistaken, Bert.
You were making, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Everyone is so confused right now at what the fuck you were saying. Like,
okay. Yeah.
Everyone right now is like, what the fuck is he talking about, bro?
Okay.
No,
Sorry,
it's good.
That
It's
is
good.
my
It's good.
fault. That is my fault.
Good. Yeah.
Well,
so,
to be fair, however, to be fair, in a more realistic scenario, there is very few howitzer traps or pieces with howitzers on it that all face the same direction. Let's be real.
Correct.
Most pieces have like a howitzer, like a howitzer X or a howitzer star facing in multiple directions because you want more coverage as opposed to like absolute coverage. Unless it's like some weird niche scenario where it's like down one path. So
Yeah.
to be fair, Milk, your point still stands because but most howitzer traps or most howitzer specific stars, I've started calling them howitzer stars now because they're not really much of a trap anymore. You tend to only aggro one, maybe two, and in very, very niche scenarios, three howitzer garrisons back. So the point still stands. Like you're still only facing 4 shots if your shell lands, as opposed to 12 or 14 or 16, whatever it was in the last patch.
And so this is the thing, I guess, what I want to ask you guys, and this is kind of my point and one of my nitpicks, because like I said, we were dominating these howitzers. How do we balance it to where a howitzer is not godly OP, but also can't get picked on? Like it's the same thing with a destroyer, and I have a hard time with a destroyer where one gunboat, if it's skilled enough, can sit in the 80-meter range and fucking dominate the destroyer or the frigate, you know. But if it plays that skill gap right, you can do it. But, you know, if I also feel like, you know, the gunboat's a lot cheaper. It should succumb to the more expensive piece if both are played right. But this is more what I'm talking about. A gunboat, skilled gunboat crew, which Bone is. We did it like 2-3 days in a row now. We went and picked on, you know what I'm saying? No, but seriously, like if you have a a skilled gunboat crew, you can go do this on any front. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel bad for the builder because he did put the howitzer in place. He is having to go rebuild that piece. Did it cause a major, you know, front to fall? Maybe not this time. But last time we did it, it started 404th to go into the Hex and start doing nasty shit to their base. I'm not asking for one side to be imbalanced either, because I do feel like gunboats should be able to pick on them. But the thing is, we were still able to pick on them if you just play the wind and play angles, because they can't have howitzers in every single way. And if they do, go to another piece. Find something else to hit. You know what I mean? This is where what I'm trying to ask you guys. Do you think it's fair that gunboats right now can outright, and I wholeheartedly say what I'm saying, absolutely fucking hamstring them. Dude, we just hamstring that builder. He put the defenses in the correct way. He had it built up, fully repped. We still killed it. Nothing, you know, no holds barred. He had to build it back. He did. No worries. This is where I ask you guys, though, do you think this is fine? Because if this, again,
Yes.
if more people start coming into it,
I think
gunboats...
You can't kill anything significant with 100 mortar shells and 100 fire shells. You might get lucky and burn down like 3 or 4 meta pieces, maybe. But right now, it is the builder update. Builders should be prepared to have... Every bunker base should have 20,000 BMATs stuck in it. Every bunker base needs to have water and fire buckets. Every bunker base needs to have a fire engine. I think it's perfectly fine. It's back and forth. It's supposed to be like this. I'm gonna be honest. I don't see a problem if one gunboat sneaks in and starts PVing your shit and you're not online to save your bunker base. You shouldn't be building a bunker base. My hot take. I'm sick and tired. I am sick and tired of concrete mega fortresses that you hit it with one mortar, and your entire Logi line dies to retaliation. I don't want that back. So if you are not prepared to log the fuck in and play the game to repair your bunker base, you deserve to have your shit burned to the ground. You deserve to have your important bunker base breached. Suck it up. So I'm fine with it.
It's fair enough.
Talk. Legendary. I think that's a very regiment-focused answer.
Yes. but it's a regiment-based game, so.
It is. That's fair enough.
I know the devs have been screaming at, not screaming, but they've been saying for a long time that, hey, we need more player, like solo player things, and I agree because
No. That's a misconception. Devs have never been solo player first. They have been new player first. It's an incorrect statement. Sorry, it's not solo player. No, when you boot up the game,
Legendary
and
new player equals solo player.
No,
Because
Or
as-
420th. 420th,
dude, look at the Zerg
420th
regiments.
doesn't
No
teach
way.
shit. When I first played the game, I was
Okay.
solo for an entire year before I even joined a regiment.
But you joined a regiment at the end. Why?
I did, yeah, because I knew the person who hosted the regiment. Many people who play this game, if I didn't know my regiment leader, would not. I know I have friends who don't want to join regiments because they're socially anxious. I didn't want to join a regiment because I didn't know how. Regiments are not explained in any way to the new player. Even a year in, I didn't understand how regiments worked, and I thought they were like an exclusive thing.
Well, okay, but inherently, we all have to admit, regardless solo or not, it's a team-based game, and if you see your teammates' shit getting blocked by a fucking mortar, you have the audacity. You have the responsibility to then go act upon that gunboat and or repair and or set the fire out. Just because you're not a regiment, I think the terminology switched. It is a team-based game, and whether you're a solo or not, you play for green or blue.
Yeah.
Regiment was the wrong terminology.
Oh,
I think team is the word you're looking for, and that's Collie versus Warden. And I think that is right. If you're in a hex, if you're, building super fucking deep and, da-da-da-da-da, okay, yeah, you shouldn't expect your shit to live. But if you're backline and you have a fucking tower up, you have a fire truck, you have a spawn point, you should expect your team to help you while you're not online. That's a more reasonable answer. Regiments.
I agree.
I will say, it's equal parts though. It is equal parts. Just you can call me Clanman bad if you like, but it's equal parts responsibility, contribution to the war effort. There is a balance to this scale. If you're going to be a solo player and you're going to build a giant massive facility in a place where reasonably you could probably build a bunker base and defend it from partisans, and you actively decide to not participate in bunker base building because it's too intimidating, it's too scary, and you become a liability to your region, then it is unfair of you to expect for the team to come and defend your shit if you're a liability and you're not willing to put in the effort to learn and play better. And unfortunately, the best way to learn and play Foxhole in the correct way is regiments.
That is
you get vets to teach you. Solo regimentless players, which is a way to play, is not how the game is supposed to be balanced. And the reason why I say this is when you boot up a fresh copy of Foxhole, which to be honest, I don't think any of us here has done in like X amount of years. If you boot up the game, there is a big fuck off warning that you have to accept the terms of service for that says, big and bold letters, you are not the hero of this game. You are a cog in the machine. You have to play as part of the team. Now, the best teams to play in my opinion, in the game is large regiments. Not large biomass regiments. Some of the Zerg regiments are a little bit crazy. 420th, 27th, all those guys, they're a little bit chaotic and they're a little bit wild. But at the end of the day, when you have 50 dudes all on a Discord voice call, all coordinating logistics, artillery, infantry, and tanking, you can biomass as many solo players together. They will never crush an organized group of people on the front. And the game has to be balanced around large groups of players fighting large groups of players. We can't have individual players like defining every single meta and ruining it for everyone else. That goes against the design of the game. And unfortunately, that's just the rules of engagement. yeah, sorry to say this, but the game is not solo player bad. Like every active decision that the devs have done in the last like 3 major updates have all been, oh, like solo ball, solo player, small groups of players, like wrecking shit has all been nerfed and done so rightfully. Now the devs have mismatched a few things here or there.
Hold on, time
No,
out.
no, don't time you
Havocs,
don't time me
flamethrowers.
out the middle of the yap session. You know. Okay, fine.
Havocs,
What's up?
flamethrowers, those things are pretty good. Just saying. They can be solo
Sorry, what?
used. I said Havocs, flamethrowers, those are pretty, saying, not everything.
Okay, whoa.
Not everything's been
You're,
nerfed. Not everything.
you're stepping on my you're stepping on my toes here. First of all, you need 2 people to run Havocs. You know that.
You don't have to.
And second of
it's easier, but you don't have to.
yeah, and second of all, flamethrowers don't work unless you have at least 3 to 4 people. Whenever I gauge my flamethrower team, like, hey, let's go fuck up 27th base again. If I don't have at least 5 people, I don't run the op. Like, it's no point. You need to overwhelm defense with the fire. A single flamethrower is not enough to overwhelm. And it's not enough to put a decent base on fire unless you're like insanely lucky and Markfoot is floating above you going, haha, more fire for you.
Well, I'm in the inner circle, dude, so that's me all the time, so whatever.
Oh, really? Are you now? Confirmed.
Yeah, dude.
Big Bear
Yeah,
confirmed.
he called me
Let's
last
go.
week and I got in, but yeah, so I think there is a balance. I think you guys both have different opinions on it, and that's fine. I think there's a balance in between you both. I do think there is a valuable solo player that has no life that will sit there and baby your base. I think there is an insane amount of power in having orchestrated chaos with a regiment. I think both have their way in the game. Both sides want to dictate the game when really they shouldn't. Solos should have no voice, but regiments shouldn't be the only voice. I think everyone has an entitlement to the copy of the game because they all played it. No one, let's say with the whole Civil War situations where people, build on coal fields, what you were talking about. I don't think it's right if, let's say a solo built on a coal field and Bone wanted it, for me to come demo that little solo shithead base and take it over. That's against TOS, in fact. But at the same time, it's also really shitty of that solo to not understand that 10 men, 20 men, or girls, are going to do a way fucking better job than a solo. That's asshat on both sides. And there's a balance to it, because not everyone wants to play in a group. Someone wants to get off their fucking day at the ball crushing factory, drink some brews, and shoot an Argenti on the front. That's fine. Are they taking up one of the slot of the fucking clan men that, fucking want to be on Papa Clanman's fucking stool at the end of the night because he did such a good job satchel rushing? Sure. There's ways for both to incorporate in the game. There's value in both. There's also disadvantages in both. I do think regiments are inherently more important than a solo player, and that's really rude to say. But at the end of the day, 10 men are going to do a better job than 1 man ever will. That's factual. That's not disagreeable. Now,
And time zone coverage. And time zone coverage is a big fucking thing. Like, that's also something. If a team of 10 players all in the same time zone will easily lose in fucking Foxhole, as opposed to 10 players that are spread across all 3 time zones.
I agree.
Just the reality of things.
So, at the end of the day, what we were talking about is the bad parts of the build. And what I was talking about was howitzers, the retaliation. Some other notes that I have about the bad building part of the update. You saw that fucking look, if you did. Concrete, when it is wet, from the second you wet it until 23 hours and 59 minutes later, can be one-tapped by a mammon. This needs to be changed. There is no fucking point in having the concrete look fucking dry if it is still wet at 23 hours and 59 minutes. Because it treats it as being wet from minute 1 to the last fucking second. It is wet concrete. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, concrete, I don't know the exact terminology from the wiki, but it goes something like this. It's pretty damn close. Anything that has a breachable, any weapon that can breach will roll a breach chance on concrete if it is at any point wet. So what that means is, if you have a fucking wet concrete piece, if it's been 23 hours, someone can come up with a mammon, throw it, and there will be a percentage rolled chance that it will breach or not. Bullshit. Absolute hogwash. That makes breachable chance fucking worthless, and that means you have to be on for a full 24-hour segment. Worst fucking mechanic in this building update. Absolute fucking worst. That needs to be reverted, and it needs to go. It needs to tell you what the breachable chance is as it's drying. I'm okay with a high breach chance at hour 1 to 6. I want a little less at 6 to 12. Even less at 12 to 18. 18 to 24, I want it to be almost dried concrete. Almost. It's the dumbest fucking mechanic. I actually have a clip of it on my Twitch, and I was fucking fuming, dude. Oh, I was so mad. We had concrete dried at 23 hours.
Markfoot was personally sitting above your base, clicking "Ha! Breach! Ha! Breach!"
Bullshit.
Every time a warden shot an RPG at it.
It was 120. That was
where are you sharing the link on your stream or on the Discord?
I'll just drag it over on the Twitch. What the fuck? Here we go. Pingu clip this for me. So this is pretty dried conch. It's not fully dried. That was at 100% health, this whole piece. Oh, I was pissed.
Wait, where are you sharing? Oh, you're playing on your Twitch.
Yeah, I did on Twitch. Sorry. I can send you the clip so you can see it though. Not a big deal. But it was just the dumbest thing. I even show it's at 100%. And it died right in front of us. And it just I'll put it in this chat right here if you want to watch it. It's in this actual Boneyard chat. There's the clip too.
Got it.
Yep. So anyway, that mechanic, yeah, if you're expecting any conflict, I mean, even partisans, your concrete's not safe. And that's where it's... It's just so dumb, dude. That was at 19 hours dried concrete. And 120 breached that conch. That was 18 hours.
Yeah, that's dumb.
So realistically, how would you balance this thing? You would just say like the breachable chance, because I fundamentally have a problem with concrete that you destroy concrete. It's still a bit of a headache to destroy concrete. Husking makes it a little bit easier, but I have a fundamental problem if I put effort and time into running Logi and making explosives and breaching and breaking some of your concrete meta pieces, and you can then get semi-sturdy concrete back in 6 hours.
No,
that's also not the correct solution for me.
Well, no. So this is my suggestion. So in as soon as I lay down my piece and I conk it, right? At the first 6 hours, I want it to be the exact emplacement as it is right now, where the breach chance, as soon as something hits, it rolls as if there's no breach chance at all. And let's say when it gets to 8 to 12 hours, the breach chance goes to like, let's say 90 to 95%. And it lowers on each 6 hour time increment. So let's say my total breach health when the piece is done is 70%, right? 70%, 68%. At the last 6 hours, I would be at like 72 to 75% breach health. The 6 hours before that, I'd be at like 80 to 85 breach health. The 6 hours before that would be like 90 to 95 breach health. And the first 6 hours would be absolutely, there's no breach health at all. If anything hits it, it can be breached. Lower the breach health time, like increase the health as the time goes. Don't let it have a random roll and RNG fuck me at 18-hour conk. 120 should also not penetrate 18-hour dried concrete. That's the other half of the dilemma. Because that's well over half my time. And now that I'm on a front, or now I'm getting fucked, I have nothing. I can't replace that. Now my base is just foobar, when I anticipated 18 hours to have a little bit of fucking HP to at least be over my tier 2 set, or at least have it be tier 2 health. That was fucked. There's a, like I said, it doesn't need to be one or the other, and it doesn't need to be, you know, exacts. It doesn't, this isn't, this doesn't need to be like exactly what I'm saying, but there does need to be a change. Because that was fucked. RNG in any game, that, like that bad, that type of RNG, that's fucked. Especially over a 24-hour period on stuff that changes on a dime. And also, I would say they need to represent that in the tab. When you do the F for the upgrade mode, they need to show you that the breachable health is extremely high at this point. But at the same time, it's not even breachable health. That's the other thing that I'm trying to argue right now is it's not even breachable health at this point. It's literally at 23 hours, it's just as bad as it was at hour 1 or minute 1. That's not the correct solution either. You know what I mean? Like, that's not that. And if you're just saying, oh, you can only have conk in the back, then, you know, it's just going to be tier 2 spam all the way up to the front. Like, how full hexes can roll in a day and wartime. You know what I mean? Like, I just, in that segment.
Is that a bad thing? Is that a bad thing, though?
It's not a bad thing, but also the RNG on concrete is a fucking bad thing, Legendary. I was bad, okay? My point needs to be heard.
No, but...
I'm just,
no, okay,
I'm
so
joking.
I agree that wet concrete needs to be forgiving, but I don't think that the wet concrete mechanic should change at all. And I'm sorry to say this, if your base is the front and your concrete gets fucking rocked, you shouldn't be repairing it with more concrete. I think that is a fundamental problem with the game.
Then what's the point of concrete at all?
Concrete is supposed to be a force multiplier for defenders so that there is enough time that QRF can mount a sizable defense against an overwhelming force. Concrete should not be, oh, I built a thing, and therefore it can delete everything, and all I need to do is stand an AFK BMAT hammering. We had that last patch, and for every war prior to that,
Don't get me
and
wrong.
it fucking sucked.
I 100% agree.
Concrete
I
should
think
not be
does need to change.
an immovable object. Concrete should not be an immovable object. When you breach a concrete piece, when you take down a concrete piece, that should be a significant turning point in a battle.
Agree.
That should be a thing.
100% agree.
It shouldn't. I don't want to come up to a base and it's like 10 layers of concrete, and if I destroy the first 2 layers of the concrete, then nothing significant happens in that front for the rest of the war. That fucking sucks. it sucks because it just turns to who burns out faster. That's not engaging gameplay. If we want to
Well, hold
talk
on,
about
though.
player retention,
Hold on.
you need to
We're
make
not
the
talking-
battlefield
we're not talking-
more movement.
We're not talking about fully dried conch, but what I'm talking about is the wet concrete time. Not the time.
Yes.
The wet concrete section of concrete.
Okay,
First of
so
all,
I
it's not
understand that.
stated.
So-
It's not stated on there that
Yep.
it does that. We had to go research that, and I did play Dev Branch, and also in Dev Branch, it didn't fucking help that the speed's up. It sped up. We didn't even try.
Yes, the speed up was terrible. Yes, we could talk about the speed up because I also agree that fucked over a lot of game mechanics.
That hurts a lot of shit,
I agree.
especially when you talk about build. But the thing is, again, an experience. I wouldn't call myself like an amazing fucking builder, but I would call myself an experienced builder, at least enough to know what the fuck I'm talking about with builds. And I had zero idea. There was no indication. It still said breachable health is 67%. When that concrete was dying, it is 68%. It still says breachable health instead of just straight breach. You have 100% breach. It needs to say you have 100% breach as soon as you make it count. That's something they need to have in there. The thing is, it wasn't at the front, Sajed. It was 18 hours old, almost breaking on 19 hours. And I don't know about you, but I'm a fucking human being. I'm not going to stay on the fucking game for 24 hours. And yes, we do have a regiment that is world, 24 hours around the clock. We do have EU. We do have Australian. But at the same time, Australian hours is dead for the colonials. And guess when this fucking attack was occurring? Late fucking at night when most of our regiment was offline. Russians weren't online. We were in the other hex when this happened. They pushed through the hex, broke through 5 to 6 bunkers, and then they didn't even come to our fucking base. They just artied it. And they got rewarded killing concrete with 120s. At 19-hour concrete. We weren't building on the fucking very front line. We had 5 bunkers in front of us, and we were in the other hex. How do you balance that gameplay for us and not even tell us that it's that thing? They didn't even explain to us.
So here's my solution. So here's my solution without touching wet concrete, because I think wet concrete is fine. Here's how you can solution it. Allow builders to downgrade husks down to tier 2. You patch your meta pieces to tier 2, and then you make the active decision to keep it tier 2 until the front is safe enough.
That would be a fair assessment.
Pushed far enough.
Right now, you have to go
put the
husk
concrete
that
down.
piece,
Yes.
tier 1 it, tier 2 it, and then...
Yes, that sucks. Yes,
that's
that
bullshit.
sucks. That sucks. That sucks. I can totally understand that. But I do wholeheartedly believe if your piece gets husked or if your piece gets breached, give us the option to downgrade it back to tier 2. I don't know how material-wise that would have to be balanced, but my guess would be probably make it cost an extra 50 BMATs to do, or something along those lines. So if you have a breached sunken in tier 3 garrison, let's say AT garrison, allow us the option of repair it with 10 concrete or 15 concrete, or spend 250 BMATs or 200 BMATs or whatever to downgrade it to tier 2, and then that will then apply all its different numerics to your piece. And at least then you can evaluate the battlefield situation, go, okay, it's pretty safe now. There is at least 2 relic bases between me and our base now. Let's conk this bitch back up, and we have to no life defend it.
I actually, that is actually a valid solution that I would be down with. But when you, the issue is, in every tier 2, tier 1, you can always patch back your husk shit. Always. Concrete's the only one that just fucks you. And I think that is such a valid solution, is to just downgrade your shit. And tanking, if you're talking about alts, You wouldn't have alts because if they wanted to downgrade it to tier 2 when it's husked, they're doing you a fucking favor. They're not alting shit.
Yes.
They're helping you. They're going to get you. And here's the thing. It's going to crop. They can't do it down to tier 1. You lock it at tier 2. That's only for concrete down, not tier 2 down.
Yes.
Yeah, you would just do it for tier 2. You wouldn't do it for tier you do it for tier 3, not tier 2. You don't go down to tier 1. You wouldn't get alted that way. They would help you if they did that. Now, granted, you might, well, we wanted to concrete it. Okay, you're going to go slap concrete. You still have the fucking tech to do it. Just go concrete it. It's tier 2. There's literally 0 alt action that could happen. They would only actually help you build. I hope alts are that fucking stupid. I really do. Because I'm just going to go concrete with 15 pieces again. Regardless if it's tier 2 or 3, I'm going to bump it back to concrete when I can.
Yeah, and ultimately, the real damage is already dealt if they hit you with artillery because they devastate the ground underneath it, which lowers your breachable. Sorry, increases your breachable HP on the piece permanently anyway. So it's not like so attackers get rewarded for fucking your shit up, and defenders have at least the option of repairing and coming back.
I do.
So I think it's a fair mechanic.
A serious problem in this, though.
Yeah.
There is kind of a somewhat detrimental problem to this. One problem I could see with rockets being 500 plus meters, one shot, one breach, it's kind of fucked. Still kind of fucked.
What do you mean by one shot, one breach?
So, again, when concrete's wet, one rocket could breach one piece. And they don't have to get even close to your base.
Cure if your borders, bro.
That's... Yeah.
Hey, I have Origin and Westgate locked down. I don't know what your problem is.
500 meters
their
of
shit
QRF?
over fucking... Bro, I have like 30 Hades nests sitting in fucking Westgate. The Wardens get an inch inside the town, inside Westgate.
So
I bombard the living fuck out of it.
You're gonna tell me you're gonna spot the rocket trucks, you're going to get on the guns, you're going to range in, and you're gonna fire before the rocket trucks get their load off.
No, the rocket trucks will get the load off, but at least it will be better than sitting there and letting them pelt you.
But then how do you QRF if you don't have the time to QRF borders?
Well, that's not even the question.
Sticky
Again,
grenades and scout uniforms.
The whole thing is, though, and...
Oh, so you know the rocket attack is already coming, so you're already sitting there waiting with stickies and
yes.
scout uniforms.
Hold on. So the point that I'm trying to get at, I like your gusto, but QRFing a fucking sneak attack is a fucking
Berg, tell me those guys knew that 20 rocket trucks were going to hit their wet concrete.
Well, that doesn't matter. So the point I'm trying to say is he has an optimistic mindset and he is really good at QRFing, but again, you're not going to get that on every fucking front, and you're also not going to get that out of every group. To say that, and you're only basing it off of your experience, which is fine because that's all you have to go off of, or the studies you've seen, but to be in all fairness, you have to understand of every other group's situation. You might not have that exact setup in every single hex, or you might not have that dedicated QRF and or / setup to go QRF that. And also at the same time, this is a very nitpick situation, so I can't say, well, that's, very silly to say that, that you're only using very specific situations, because I'm using very specific situation, saying that they're going to come rocket me from 500 meters on my wet conch. That's very fucking specific, and that's not a generalist mindset. 90% of the time, that's going to be okay. I think where we need to base it down to the argument, do you think it's okay for 23-hour and 50-minute concrete to get one tap by a mammon? Do you think that's okay?
No, absolutely not.
I'm asking Legendary because he's like
specifically a mammon. Specifically a mammon.
Well, it's anything that can breach. So mammons can do it. Tremolas, rockets. Anything that does HE damage, any HE can one tap a fucking wet concrete piece at 23 hours. That's my real question to you: is do you think
Like I
that's
said-
viable? Because that's the real
I'm gonna
argument.
answer you
we're
don't
having.
like. I'm gonna say yes, but you need to make the active decision of dehusking your tier 3 pieces that get husked in and rebuilding it to tier 2. Now that sucks. That sucks fucking ass. And I agree that sucks ass. But that's what you kind of have to do. If your front bunker base is the front, you shouldn't be putting down wet concrete to repair
But
it.
500
That has
meters
never been,
wouldn't be the
that
front.
has never been an okay strategy for the history of Foxhole. So I don't know why it should be okay now. That's my only concern with it. Why should you be okay to build wet concrete on this patch when you, in previous patches, the only thing that people did was you show up with fucking an endless amount of havocs, you dehusk the tier 3 husks and you rebuild it at tier 2, and then you wait a week for the front to move. I don't know. You have to compel me why you think it's okay to rebuild the front with concrete.
Well,
Because I don't see that
point.
as an okay argument.
So this is my argument to you then. At what point is it okay, though, for them to come get a free gimme shot? And again, this isn't like they have to get it to a certain health. They could get extremely fucking lucky, husk like 70% of your pieces. They get to husk 70% of your shit with rockets. Let's say they come across the border, set up, send from 500 meters away. You try to scramble your QRF, you can't. They smash all your shit. And let's just even make the pot worse against your case. Let's be fair. Let's say it was at 18, let's call it 19 hours, dried concrete. Right? They came in at hour 19. You're about to go to bed. They're hopping on. They see you have somewhat wet concrete. They pull up. They send all their fucking rocket salvo, dip fucking hex. They get to kill X amount of concrete for very cheap. And now you're stuck downgrading your shit to tier 2 because you couldn't stop something 500 feet away from you. Or 500 meters away from you. How is that fair to the builder?
You need to... Okay. If this is a consistent threat in your front, you need to adapt your builds and build more artillery shelters and more triangles.
If I would also like to put in, if I would like to say something, I think putting in concrete on the front shouldn't be an acceptable thing. So let's say in this scenario, from hour one you put on the concrete, the wardens. So let's say I'm building stone plank, right? And the wardens take over Endless Shore. If I place down concrete from hour 0 and the wardens know I have and they QR effort in time, that's an effort on my part, or that's a thing on my part. But if the wardens sit there for 19 hours doing jack shit knowing that I have wet concrete there, that should be punished on them. They should have a higher resistance breach chance because they dilly-dallied around for 19 hours saying, "Oh, we'll get to take care of this concrete." Wet concrete should be shit. We know this is coming. This is an active threat that is a ticking time bomb. If we do not defuse this bomb immediately, we will be in pain later. That is what that should boil down to.
And I agree. But
how does having a 99% breach chance from hour
hold
0
on. Say
to
that
23?
different. No, it's not even 99% chance. It rolls every piece of HE that gets thrown at it. Any breachable. It's a random roll. So it's not even. It could be 100. It could be you could be really fucked and not get any. But it's a random roll. It's like it's doing the Alkido. And it's just ignoring the breachable health. I think this is a hot topic. I mean, I hope no one's getting fucking frustrated here. I see where Legendary's coming from, and saying, well, if you conk on the front, you know, shit might go south. At the other half, I also get where he's coming from. If you wait 19 hours, that's 19 fucking hours of concreting solidifying. Like, you shouldn't just get a fucking freebie at 20 hours. You know what I mean? Like, there should be some type of advantage somewhere in the line. I get even going to tier 2, but then you're going to have a Frankenfuck piece, which, granted, that's better than not having any concrete down at all. But the fact that it can one-shot your concrete at 23 hours, that base premise, does not resonate with me. I understand it can resonate with you, Legendary, and I understand you can't QRF everything. There's better, you need to be on your shit, but no one's going to be on for 24 hours. I don't even think you play for 24 hours in this segment. And let's be fair, HVL's not fully active.
I don't, but HVL is a 24-hour regiment. We've covered our time zones. We don't concrete.
How many people do you have on at 3 a.m.? How many people do you have on at 3 a.m.?
3 a.m. my time? 3 a.m. my time?
My time.
Oh, fuck, what's your...
Central.
What's your...
U.S. Central.
So that would be... So U.S. Central... So 3 a.m. your time is around 12 to 1 my time. That's EU time. We have around 30 to 40 people on.
All ready to QRF.
Like, again, Logi regiment, we're doing Logi. So, sure.
That's what I'm trying to get at is, you're not going to just... I don't care what regiment you have. Every regiment has their downtime. Even if they have... We are quote-unquote 24-hour. We're not a bigger regiment as HVL, obviously. But the point is, and it's okay to agree to disagree. If you think it's okay for concrete to get one shot at 23 hours, that's fine. I don't. I don't think it's right that someone should get 23 hours of downtime and just go get a give me one shot and fully breach that shit. I think that's a horrible mechanic. I think that's bad for the builder. I think if they wait for 23 hours, I think they need to be punished. I think if they wait even 18 hours like we had it, you started to see the gray lining in it, the etching. I think that is bullshit that 1/120 fully breached a piece. I do think it would help as if they don't want to change it. I do think the solution you proposed is a plausible answer to it, which would be let us downgrade it instead of fully dehusking it and then rebuilding it. Yeah. I think that's a viable answer. I don't think it's an answer everyone likes. I do think it's a viable answer for defense. But again, I also think, it is pretty fucking shitty that they can do it. But again, it's the reward versus the risk. How much are they really risking with rocket trucks versus how much are you risking putting concrete on the front?
So is the problem just rocket trucks?
The problem
is that the only problem?
Well, the problem is
because you got breached by 120. So
that's 300 meters. Yeah, that's still 300 meters plus.
If I make it a word in here,
go ahead.
If I make it a word in here, we're spinning in circles, and this is in the same vein. But I think the way they implemented breaching is shit. I don't think it should totally destroy the piece. So I think there should be breaching, but I think it should put holes in the pieces. So you say, I have a single rifle garrison, right? It should not breach and take it completely out. I think it should put a hole that infantry can squirt through.
But the thing would just shoot you on your way in. There'd be no point in
that's that. The thing. Reduce it to 3/4 to like a quarter of its rate of fire and half the accuracy when breached. But you can still suppress it. It's still there. It's still a threat. And I think as long as you get in the bunker, there should be more fighting in the bunker and around the bunker.
Dude, that would be so defensively. Honestly, I don't think that would bode well, especially with the pieces that are out there, and especially when it's conked. If you're talking about shit not mattering, breaching would not fucking matter at all. you would have no fucking chance still. You would have dudes still sitting in that fucking spot with an MG and gas mask, mowing you the fuck down when you tried to run in. There would just be no point. Like, the breaching mechanic's not bad, in my opinion. I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, you're almost making, again, you're going to the other extreme of you don't want breaching in the game almost at all.
I do
Almost.
want breaching, but Berg, what I want most is more internal bunker fighting. I want more complexity to that. I like the bear trap in the fact of the matter that there's complexity in standard, or there's like design defense points. But if you build a brick of health, there is nothing in there. And I think the devs need to implement more internal modules and module destruction in the game. If I have to, so on a front line at a bunker, how do you kill barbed wire on a trench? You have to kill the trench or you have to kill the bunker. I feel like with a Hydra, if you place it on a trench, it'll do the damage. But if it's on a piece with, say, a sand berm or a barbed wire thing, it should destroy that. There should be a little bit of strategery within the placement of your explosive. Because right now, you just run up to a piece, it explodes, it takes damage. If you can systematically disable and sap the enemy's fighting ability and be smart about it, then you should deserve to have the easier ability to go through the enemy's defenses. And if the enemy counters by building sandbag walls internally, that's on them for not letting you just run rampant.
I do like the trench idea and like being able to kill barbed wire on a trench. And I do think that is something that, could be looked at by the devs to have more internal defenses. Much like how on concrete you can have the internal defenses. Maybe on tier 2 we could get a lower end version of that.
And I'm not asking for anything crazy. I'm thinking like, the T1 sandbag walls that you can build.
Mm-hmm.
Just put one of theirs though, so you can't be completely hidden behind it. You don't completely seal off a wall. All it is a slight inconvenience that if you can say, hey, this is a line of sand here. We will take more time hopping over this little sandbag wall if we push forward, but that's going to take more time in the reinforcements coming up from the rear. But it's also cover for you to stand there and try and prevent the enemy from coming through.
Yeah, I mean, I think internal defenses would be a good idea. A lot of people have talked about them already in it. Legendary, do you think internal defenses would be cool?
Yeah, I think internal defenses would be cool. I actually want it to be added more to tier 1 and tier 2 pieces as well. Like,
Absolutely.
There's gonna be super creative about it as well. It doesn't need to be like that solid like firing slit that we get with like the tier 3 one. It could literally be like, it sounds goofy, but it's kind of cool. Is upgrade your tier 2 bunker base with a turned over table.
Yo,
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie.
You
For
know.
art design, that'd be fucking like gangster, bro. Fucking flip.
Yeah,
table,
it's like
shoddy,
literally just
boom. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, hell, you could say I have a modification here. Let me get rid of that modification as I don't need any BMAT cost to demolish it and make up a small defensive thing. So
Rip over the like comms tower or whatever.
But it takes BMATs to replace it.
Or the lockers.
If
That's
that
what I was
makes
saying.
sense.
The locker. Rip
Yeah.
over the lockers. Have them
That
like
way-
open
that
with
way-
shit coming out on the floor. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
and look, I still hold that the devs have shown that they can make pieces like objects within the game a lot more modular as well. I mean, just look at the variety of how you could modify your bunker bases as opposed to just upgrading it. Like you could put sandbags on it, you could put a ladder on it, you could put tripods on it. I don't think it's beyond reason right now to say that at some point devs might just add more versatility in internal bunker based designs that could also change the nature of the bunker-based pieces themselves as well. Like, let's say, for example, there's one piece of your bunker base that constantly gets hit by a particular type of weapon. I don't think it to be unreasonable that the devs could add something in where, like, you could add an internal piece to your bunker, to that bunker piece, that will give it an increased resistance to something
Oh,
like
Cutler
flame
resistant.
retardant gel or something
Cutler's
like that, or
resistant for their colleagues.
like shock. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, no,
Layers,
absolutely, and
trems for them. Trems for them.
yeah. So I'm all for more versatility, and I'm all for more modularization. Those are cool concepts. What I'm not in favor for is Death Concrete Box 9000 that deletes artillery, tanks, and infantry as long as I give it M subs of power. I don't want that back. So if we're going towards the discussion of the Death Boxes 9000 that we've had in every fucking war since Concrete was added in the game up until now, I'm against that notion. It's boring, it's uninteresting. Like, I don't like fighting Concrete for 3 weeks straight. I'd rather have the front die and rebuilt multiple times and have an actual no man's land that's difficult to build, that's difficult to hold. Because once that no man's land eventually gets overcome, that is like a massive W. Everyone is satisfied, and it gets it boosts the entire faction's morale. Whoever overcomes it. I'm telling you right now, Bear. If you guys manage to push into Saltbrook and turn it green, you guys are going to be so fucking pumped. You're going to go all the way to Morgan's Crossing uncontested. That's how I feel, builders. And that's the strength of that's the strength of it. And the previously we couldn't get there. No faction could do that because eventually we run into concrete like squares, like the concrete cubes, and then it's like, okay, cool. It just took us 3 weeks to get here. It's gonna take us another 3 weeks to get over this. Burnout, and then a massive flank happens, and then there's an invasion, and then oh well, the faction loses. It sucks. I don't like that game mechanic. So I'd rather keep things the way that they are. Add more quality of life things to make builders' lives easier, like patching breaches, like changing husk pieces to tier 2. But what I don't want is oh god, I have to fight Concrete for fucking 3 weeks and not get anywhere.
Dude, it's so simple. Just make
it
cheaper. Let's just nuke everything. Just nuke it all. Just conk nuke it. Conk nuke it. Nuke it. Anything tier 2, we'll leave it for the fight. Just nuke the conk. Nuke it.
Bro, there's already people not building storm cannons anymore because of the fucking rare match.
Oh,
the rare mat economy. You're thinking any faction's gonna build a nuke? You're crazy, bro.
I'll farm
any regiment or any faction that has a railstorm cannon's gonna be fucking rich.
Hey, bro, I'll farm that shit one day. No problem.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right,
dude,
let's move on from concrete discussion. It's great.
Conk is awesome, bro. So one thing, I do see an issue with mortars. I think mortars have hit a point of trap just being it, and that's the only thing it's good for. I still think, and I'm gonna spit the idea out again in another episode, if we could make it a tripod weapon, give it 100 meters, make it a heavy mortar, maybe be able to place it in trenches, multiple. Maybe give us a little ammo room for it, like a trench, have the ammo box in it. Make an actual deployable mortar that could be, you could actually deploy a box of mortars in. And actually have a defensive mortar set, or maybe if you wanted to do it on the offense, it could snipe pieces where there's not howitzers, or you could snipe tracks on tanks. I think if you made mortars a little bit longer distance, but kept them in place, and you could feed them ammo like an actual internal ammo room, I think that would be sick. I think if you could have you know how they have the gears when you put a Sarah into a octagon? If you could do that with 3 mortars, and you'd have 3 mortars in a thing, and everyone just fed it ammo, and then you just have 3 mortars all with different, azimuth distance. I think it could be cool. It could be in cover.
Yeah, I'm still in the air. I'm still in the air whether or not I want an emplaced mortar house.
Cool.
Essentially, that's what basically
Not a
what you
mortar
want.
house.
My only problem right now, but you touched on something interesting, because I actually think this is one of my biggest pet peeves with this patch is I think mortars are kind of dead. The only places that are effective at shooting mortars from right now is gunboats, because I do feel like even tier 1 howitzers completely shit on mortars. Like I didn't see any significant mortar blobs at all this war. And
I don't
I know. Yeah.
I don't think handheld mortars should proxy T1, T2 mortar howitzers.
Oh, they definitely should. 100% they should. Dude, mortars do too much damage for them not to. Way too much damage for them not to.
Yeah, but handheld mortars were barely a thing. Like there was like maybe one or two partisan groups across both faction who would get like 20 people together to do a mortar blob, and they would only do it for one tier level, and then it's over.
And they're not for anti-building. Just get over it. You're not killing structures with mortars anymore. Use shrapnel, make them kill infantry in pockets. Mortars were not destined, even in real life. Yes, you could break houses and shit, but they're anti-infantry. They're suppression units. Honest to God, the best thing they could do with those fucking things, in my honest opinion, give them a fucking smoke round. Honest to God, you want handheld mortars to be a fucking effective tool? Give them a smoke round. That's
True.
it. Literally, you add a smoke round to handheld mortars. That's all you got to do. Fuck making them anti-structure. It's stupid. That's not what they were used for in real life. You know what? And if you want to make it really good, that's actually a fucking good idea. Make it extremely expensive. Give them a gas mortar. Fuck it. Gas and smoke.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. You guys will resurrect. No. You guys will fucking resurrect Cronus.
QRF it, bro. QRF it. Don't be a bitch. Run them down. QRF it. Shoot them with a Vic. I don't know, but I will say smoke definitely needs to be added to that handheld, and maybe that's the one thing where it can shine. A smoke push with those would be fucking sick. You have 4 dudes just thumping mortars out in a field. You have like 20 dudes run up with Havocs or Hydras, lay them down. Yeah. But here's the deal. I don't think they should be anti-structure. That's not what they were used for in real life. Like I said twice now, they were used to kill infantry in stagnated positions, machine guns. And here's the other thing. You're not going to be sniping pieces with howitzers, but maybe that 1x1 pillbox, or not pillbox, that 1x1 where there's a rat catcher or a lamentum in it, shoot that with HE. If that, we don't need to make everything in the meta. It should have a place, but it doesn't need to be in the meta. And it should have its niche, which I agree, but it needs to be smoke. We don't have anything besides Lendairs that shoot smoke, but honestly, that's my take on mortars. Other than making them in place.
Berg, I like your idea of so add the tripod mortars, right? That can shoot HE and remove the handheld ability, or the handheld mortar's ability to shoot HE.
And just let them have smoke. That'd be cool.
Have them shoot shrapnel, shoot smoke, and the tripod ones can shoot shrapnel, smoke, HE, and maybe gas. I feel like that would give both a place in the game.
The problem is guys, you're making an already difficult and complex system even more complicated.
Explain.
Okay, how easy is it to get randoms to help out with a 120 solo? Relatively easy. Not always easy, but relatively easy. Getting randoms involved in a mortar blob, fucking hard. Getting randoms to carry a tripod weapon for you, nearly impossible. Now you're taking something that's nearly impossible and very hard to do and combining it.
Get your big regiment to do it. Get your big regiment to do it.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You get your regiment.
Weren't you
I don't-
just weren't you just
Yes, but you
Hold on.
guys just said I don't want it to just to damage structures. Fuck that! I'll just bring four 120 guns.
That's what it's.
So what's the point of
that-
what's the point of?
then what?
I
Then
agree.
what-
It should. That's the point we're trying to make. Fuck mortars. Use 120. Use rockets. Those were
Let's
made
just
for that.
okay. Well then let's just beat. Let's not just beat around the bush. Let's just remove mortars from the game, then, and just make them a
Hey,
gunboat.
I said to make it. I said the easiest way to make mortars relevant is give them smoke. Easiest way to make them relevant. And if you don't think that people would adapt to smoke mortar pushes, crazy. And they wouldn't retaliate on fucking mortars, so you just put smoke all on their defensive line to where they can't see, and you fucking lay a fucking breaches down. Oh my, do you know how strong that would be? Cutting off line of sight of all those buildings and laying down hydras or pushing something would be insane. Most of the shit's OP because it has line of sight. Take that away and what do you have? A fucking brawl in the no man's land. It would be badass. Oh my god, yeah. And that's where mortars should be. It should be anti-infantry and smoke pushes. If you want actual demolition, you don't see the fucking U.S. military. Well, that's a bad example. We use JDAMs from jets,
Yeah,
but let's use a different example.
we also use-
World War II.
We also use mortars.
Well, nowadays, but you look at World War II, the 60mm mortars, they were not taking down a fucking bunker and bullshit. That was for smokes and killing MGs. Period. That was their job. I don't think mortars should be a structure thing.
I think mortars should be changed from high explosive to explosive, and then I'll be happy. I'll be honest. Make mortars be impactful when you do hit howitzers. Yes, you're gonna die, but at least damage the howitzer pieces more than 120. But that's just me, I guess.
You know what? That would actually be really good too. Trooper just put, can we just respec mortars into anti-infantry, buff the air burst, remove HE, swap it for AP and smoke rounds? Fuck no. What? I'm cool with the fucking swap to give it a bigger air burst, but fuck no, give it an AP, dude. That'd be the best super heavy killer in the game. Get 30 dudes. Boom! Dead tank.
I think he means anti-personnel.
Swap is okay. Well, AP armor piercing, you can get where I got confused.
Yeah, no, I absolutely.
But
get
that
it,
would
but-
be an insane concept, though, right? Just fucking put like 30 AP mortars on the top of a super heavy. That'd be wild.
Look, personally, I like to fight with mortars from like, mobile
That's true. Ace.
mobile armored platforms. So either the David Kane or the Peltast. I really like mortars in the position that they're in. From that position, handheld mortars. Honestly, I'm kind of sort of okay with it dying because no one really uses them except for maybe shooting flares. Maybe.
Well, and that's
For that
where
support role. But
Go ahead.
Peltast and mortar tanks are basically pointless now because artillery shelters counter them, and that really sucks. And
It's a fancy boat now.
even tier 1 and tier 2 howitzers shit all over a Peltast line because, again, the Peltast hits it. Sure, the howitzer doesn't hit the Peltast, but it'll
Me too,
delete
dudes.
all the infantry and all the tanks around the Peltasts.
So this is
we
why
actually
I say
ran.
that.
We actually.
Hold on.
Yeah.
This is why I'm saying if you want to revive mortars, the best way to do it is entrench it. Put it on. Even if you say fuck the tripod idea and you make mortars an entrenchment thing or an emplacement thing, like you have to crane it or whatever, I wouldn't like that. I would like just a simple tripod system. But like I said, what if you could just lay down 3 or maybe even one of those per octagon, put a peltist sentry mortar in an octagon, raise its health by X amount %, whatever entrenchment bonus gives it, and voila, you have mortars again. It's just like 120s
Yes.
except closer.
But you said that it shouldn't do structure damage. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm okay. But here's the thing.
what's the
I would-
point?
If you did that, it would be the best thing ever because you'd have an entrenched thing that could just fucking mop Infantry blobs and smoke.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I must be lost here. Do you guys like enjoy running into 120 and dying? Because you're adding
Fuck
another layer
yeah,
of adding
bro.
120 and
Listen,
dying.
bro. I wouldn't play Foxhole if I didn't enjoy getting fucking clapped by 120, baby.
Bro,
All right.
seriously? Oh, come on. Walk out your bunker base, like take 10 seconds to pull your kit. After a 40-second like death timer, walk out the bunker base. One thing: a 120 shell lands 30 meters away from you. You die and you have to do it all over again. Hell no.
Oh yeah, baby.
And you want mortars, and you want mortars, and you want gas mortars, and you want airburst mortars, and you want more shrapnel mortars, and you want it in place, dude. Okay, I guess we're just gonna go back to 50 fucking outlaw tank lines again.
Oh yeah.
So,
baby.
Berg, I just came up
I'm
with
throwing
this
out a
random
bunch of ideas. They don't all have to be together, by the way, but I'm cool with all of it. If it all came in,
Sure.
dude, mortar cancer, dude, I love it. It'd be great.
So I have another thing I just came up with, not at all related to this topic. What if half tracks had a better place late game?
Okay, hold on. I gotta finish this mortar thing because I do want my final statement on this. I do think an in-place mortar would have a place to take the min distance of a 120 gun. If you wanted it to do structure damage, make an in-place mortar or make it to where we can set a tripod in the middle and entrench it, and it could take the min distance 120s. Granted, it would be a niche thing, but I do guarantee you, if you had an entrenched mortar system, they would be all over the map and people would LARP to fuck. I would be one of those people. A lot of people want to make an entrenched mortar. I think it would be cool. It doesn't have to be like the mortar houses where you get the auto click. That would be bullshit and I would never play the game again. But if you had to spot it, you had to do all that other shit. I think it would be a really good way to make mortars useful in this howitzer meta gaming. You do that, and I also think adding smoke to that carrier and or that piece would make dividends on pushing front lines. Instead of having to throw smoke or shoot smoke out of a Lendary or whatever the fuck they have on the word inside, the grenade launcher bullshit.
The Osprey.
Instead of having all that, you would have a dedicated mortar shooter. It would just shoot smoke grenades, and you would have smoke launcher, which would cover infantry pushes, and it'd be a really good gameplay mechanic. You have the distance minimum of distance of a 120 if it was right beside you, and or it would just be a shorter range. Whatever. You just make a mortar. Either way you look at it, I think an entrenched mortar would be a very healthy thing to the game. I think it might get annoying dealing with mortars all the time, but it's better than them not being in the game at all. And that's my personal opinion. I don't think they'd be too spammed because you have to have them close enough to the front to where they could probably get grenaded to fuck or anti-mortared themselves or 120. And if they hit a howitzer, they would get fucked. More than likely, like every other fucking thing in the game. But that's my opinion on it. I think if that entrenched mortar came into the game, I think it would be very good. That's my final piece on it. I think entrenched mortars would be great. Going on to the half-track conversation, how would you implement that? How would you upgrade half-tracks? Because I guarantee you, Legendary's opinion, half-tracks are already in the late-game meta, and I think they're, as soon as they're teched, one of the best vehicles in the game, through and through to the end.
Okay. Maybe they would make a nice anti-artillery shuttle. Have a late game only variant that has a roof, no MG, nothing on it, just a straight. I can hold 8 guys in my back, but we have a roof over our head and like a 50% artillery resistance or something like that. And just, you can go up to the battlefield, drop your guys off next to a trench, and then get back. That would, because I hate running through an
Bro,
artillery thing
come
jump
on.
to die.
God, chat's roasting you, bro, and they're so right. Fuck a half track, bro. Give me an armored battle bus, baby. Give me a battle bus armored the fuck up with a 50 on top. Shit.
The other thought I had, do you know what the M113 ACAV is, Berg?
Yes, I do. Kind of one of those.
That would be a cool. So during the Vietnam War, the South Vietnamese would use the ACAVs not as like just dropping infantry. They would just run up on the enemy infantry and just even mounted, just shoot from their side. So it would be cool if you could shoot like have two guys up there in rifles along with the MG up there.
So you want just an armored troop transport is essentially what you want. That you don't really the chassis is not so, but an armored troop transport. I do think that would be gangster as fuck, but I don't see in the game where that would really. Yes, I do. Dropping them very close to the front. I guess getting troops to and fro, or maybe a partisan op. Partisans would fucking love that thing. Guarantee it.
But it'd be fun to rush
funny.
with a half track with machine guns and suppress the ever loving shit out of a enemy trench and just drop off troops and
Bro.
assault from there.
Dude. All right. Half track can carry 8 troops and increase troop transport, but instead of for the Collie variant, it would have the Fashura on it. It could only equip the Fashura. What if you put smokes in that bitch and fucking 8 guys with banes in that bitch? Smoke the tank line and Legendary, what's wrong, dude? You're not your cheery self. You good, bro?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just
Thinking.
armored troop transport. The you guys are talking about something that's already in the game.
Yeah, half tracks do 5
it's called
people.
the hoplite.
It does 5
Hoplites
people.
can already do it. Like we actually courier troops to like from like bunker bases to the front line. So you guys are already saying things that exist in the game. So yeah, make some hoplites.
No, I think he's just what he, and that's why I kind of went with an upgraded battle bus, you know, because I do use half tracks for troop transport quite a lot of the time. You already have 1 in the gun, 4 in the back, 1 in shotgun, and 1 in driver. You literally have the number you were talking about, but I think what he's talking about is 1 driver, 8 in the back with no armament. I would just say if you want that, make a battle bus that's armored. If you want like a. But at the same time, like, he is kind of right in the sense that you can take already 5 guys in the half
6.
track. Well, it's 5 if you don't take the gunner or the driver out. It's 4 in the back, 1 in shotgun. It'd be 5 troops.
5 in the back, 1 in the passenger seat.
Legendary.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You don't take the gunner out. That's why I was saying the gunner and the driver would stay in their positions. If you pop the gunner out,
okay, sure.
That's what I was trying to say. Is you leave the gunner in to be a gunner, but yeah, there is 5 in the back if you do count the gunner. But yeah, I agree. I mean, you can kind of do that same thing already, but I think he's talking about doing like a big section, like maybe, and I wouldn't even say 8. I'm talking like 15 to 20 dudes in an armored battle bus. You know, but at the same time, why not just take 3-4 half tracks, have get more guns, and not put all your eggs in one basket? I don't know.
So why not just use a heavy truck?
Heavy hauler? No, they can only carry.
Yeah, the Torian rigger or the Canute.
Well, they can carry.
They can only carry 7
7
guys.
7 pairs. 7 pairs. Sure, it doesn't have the gas grenade launchers, but you said it's supposed to be an unarmored vehicle, so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's already kind of all in the game.
I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's
Quit
cool, but
shitting on his idea,
Legendary.
You're shitting on his idea, man. No, I get it though. I mean, if it's in the game, it doesn't need to be added. Which he is right. I mean, Milk, he has brought up valid points.
I would love to see more dedicated half-track drivers in the late game because I hardly see any half tracks in the game, aside from when they first come out, and when they are being used, they don't pick up infantry unless they are already on their way to the front. Don't go there with the explicit purpose of being a troop transport. What I want
Okay, well
is
yeah.
what I
Sorry.
want is specifically it has, oh, you're under 150 fire? Let me bring up or 120 that's just shelling the battlefield for the fuck of it. Well, I have a squad here that I'm coordinating with my regiment, and we want to go up there. That would be awesome to shuttle those
Well,
guys
again, that's the
from one
hoplite
big
though.
place.
Honestly, a hoplite. Now, I do think. I mean, because the hoplite would do the exact same thing, in my opinion. You don't have a closed top on the ass, but the chances of the fucking Artie hitting right in the back seat, killing everyone in the back, is so slim. I've played in half tracks on Artie fronts for, I would at least say, out of my 3,500 hours, at least 200 of them have been driving half tracks, troops to and from the front. Like, I've never seen my gunner nor my passengers ever get killed by Artie. Am I lucky? Maybe, sure, but if that's what you want, I don't know. I kind of feel like it is already in the game, but I do feel like tanking brings up a really cool thing. And actually, I want to know what you guys think about this. And this is kind of something that adds into you, Milk, and what you were just saying. So you guys know the APC.
Yeah.
Two things with the APC that I would like to see. One, a fully covered one where you could drop people out of the back and it was fully armored. There was no top to it. Now, the reason I want that is, A, so grenades can't get in while you're to and from. But the other one I would like to see is a Logi variant of that. A Logi variant APC would be fucking sweet. I think a Logi or even a medical truck, but that's just LARP. I mean, they have a medical truck, but that could be a water medical truck, you know what I mean? That's very LARPy, I know. It's very lame, but it is fucking a cool idea for the APC, because there's only one variant for them, and there's two variants for us, and our variant is literally a 50 cal variant. That's it, which it is way better than nothing. But I would like to see the APCs getting some love. I would like to see that kind of be exactly what you were just talking about, and being an armored troop carrier that is amphibious to be able to slide in, do some cool shit, have a Logi variant so you could do island LARP pretty hard, set some Artie up on some islands. That could be gangster. I think the APCs have a lot of things they could have happen to them that could be cool. I want to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, how long have
ahead.
APCs been in the game now?
AP's fucking as long as I've been in.
They've been in since the first naval update, the original one.
Yeah.
So I don't think they've been touched since. They need some sort of attention, especially to bring them into actual use late game.
What do you think, Legendary?
I mean, I don't know, guys. I think I've played a different game to you guys. I used to use half tracks and APCs to like the very last day of the war. I personally, I think our APCs are the best counter to the wooden gunboat. Not in open waters, but for when a wooden gunboat sneaks into your coastline to bomb something, I will sneak up behind the gunboat and murder it with that 50 cal, or I'll just sneak up behind it and just dusk it to death or dawn it to death. So I actually think that the APC is perfectly fine, and if we're gonna add anything to the APC to make it more expensive, I probably won't be that big of a fan of it. I really like the fact that I can get 15 APCs for 210 armats. pretty
Well,
sweet.
no.
I mean,
It's not that it's not useful. I mean, I use them for anti-gunboat at fucking 8.
I mean, you can add variants.
That I'm just
I mean,
saying
you can add variants in it, and I mean, there's literally a guy on Reddit who his only existence in Reddit is to ask Siege Camp for 30 million variants to the APC. Like I've seen the ambulance APC, I've seen the APC that shoots like smoke grenades, I've seen the APC that like lobs 250s. It's cool, but I mean, sure. I think there are much more glaring problems with the game than
Here's
not
a
having
really
enough
bad
APCs
idea.
in the back line. Oh, sorry, in the front line, sorry.
Here's a really bad idea I just had. Do you guys know the game Squad?
Of course.
Right? You know
I don't play it, but
the
yes.
new PMC M113 acting as a mobile deployment point?
No.
What if you could make an APC that can only carry shirts? You can set your spawn at that APC and act as a miniature deployment. It can only carry, I don't know, say 50 shirts or something, but it's enough to keep in control of the battlefield.
So hold on, there would be no point in ever making a long hook again. Yeah, I'd just make 100 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. I mean, you've just made a really easy blood tender, a really cheap, easy to move blood tender. So
Exactly, Tenkin. No logic with it. It is just a deployment point.
I mean,
Like,
God forbid,
you
dude.
spawn
If
in
you
with
know what I can do in a backlines with just a fucking pistol, that's a pretty bad fucking idea, dude. Especially if they don't know where it's at. That's a bad fucking idea, dude. That's a bad idea. Like, the amount of theft that would come from that fucking vehicle, I want no part in it. No thank you.
I did say it was.
You'll
I
be-
did say it was
No,
a bad
thank you.
idea.
you'll be failing parachute and Squid's best friend. Let's put it that way. If you gave him that fucking APC, because I would just hide it on a border outside of.
Oh,
I'll find one
100%,
of those
dude.
like weird caves and just leave it in there. And I would just spawn in, and I mean, there's other ways that you can cheese things in. You just sneak. So you sneak in one of those, and then you sneak in one of your Logi APCs that you recommended, and then you just load that motherfucker up with Havocs, Hydras, even created Havocs, created Hydras, or anything like that, and you just sneak that stuff in. And then you just build up. You just build up a small partisan base off radar, and then you just fuck shit up. I would see it. Let me put it this way: it won't have a place in naval invasions. It won't have a place on the front line. It won't have a place anywhere else other than it's just a really random partisan vehicle that's specifically designed and used for partisan work, which could be cool, but
Fuck partisans. No.
I mean, I'm a partisan player, so I would definitely use it. But
I think it'd be really
definitely make some friends with the guys from like the Party House Discord. Let's put it that way.
Okay, well, the last 2 questions I have right now, and you kind of tapped on this, and I want to know what you're kind of thinking on this. Also, just another random stupid idea, because they had them in World War II, the Russians. Imagine if they had a fucking mortar bike, like a motorcycle mortar. I don't know. That'd be kind of goober. Anyway, point I wanted to say, and you were kind of saying that there's a lot of more important things than the APCs getting added, the variants and stuff. What are changes you wish to see? And Legendary, let's start with you.
Changes I would like to see. First of all, bit of a meta change, but if devs are watching, because you say that devs watch this podcast, awesome.
I think.
Please, for the love of God, when we do the dev testing server, the dev branch server, we need to segment the map in half, like left side and right side, where the left side is sped up with magic boxes and the right hand side is normal foxhole gameplay. The reason why I say this is there was so many bugs at the start of this war, and they were only fixed because crazy motherfuckers like me filled in bug reports on the website non-stop. The pipe bugs was insanely bad for Logi. The sinkholes, insanely bad. The bug where people could like have infinite sprint and infinite like firing with sprint. The problem is like the majority of these bugs could have been caught if people actually tested it. But the only thing that people tested was the bunker-based building mechanics because they wanted to learn all the niche new systems and the fact that everything was accelerated, like concrete drying was accelerated, producing of production things were accelerated. But for example, we couldn't test facility pipes in the last dev branch because facilities are all sped up due to like the whole timer system. So I really hope like one of the changes that we see going forward is when we get to do dev branch testing, the devs literally just need to make like half the or give us two dev branch servers where one is sped up with magic boxes and one is just regular foxhole but with all the like intricacies of you know what the able server is going to be like once the dev branch hits, because it allows us to test multiple things. Like I really wanted to test the pipe systems in dev branch, but the literal facility buildings did not work and the fluids weren't going in the pipes, so there's no way for me to test it. And then live server hit, and all of like facility buildings were fucked with pipes for like a solid 48 hours. And it was horrible. It was terrible. Like we had to like redo all our pipes
Dude,
multiple
you're
times.
telling
And
me you
sucks
didn't
ass.
like Wi-Fi pipes, bro? We were getting enriched oil that
Dude,
we
it's
couldn't
no
even get,
God.
bro.
Oh no, you didn't. You fucking liar. You don't even know what Wi-Fi pipes is. Show me a single can of enriched oil that you guys grouped
No,
in the fucking Wi-Fi pipes.
no, that's
dropped.
what I said. We
You
got
liar.
enriched. No, I said we just got enriched oil that we couldn't even get. You didn't like that? We did have enriched oil in one of our pipes, and we tried so fucking hard. We tried every way we could to get that fucking.
Did
we
you
tried
put it
every
into
way.
an LTS?
Oh, dude, we have the video to prove it. I'll show you. We had an enriched pipe.
Show me you at tier 2 holding a can of enriched oil.
No, I said we didn't get any, you dingus. I said we didn't get any out. We tried our hardest to suck it all, but we couldn't get any. We tried, dude.
Anyway.
We tried.
Didn't have enriched
We
oil.
wanted it, bro. We
Didn't have
wanted it bad.
enriched oil.
We didn't get any, but we
I know,
had
I
it in
know,
our
I know.
pipe.
I know everyone wanted enriched oil at tier 2 because it's like mega funny, but
I would have enjoyed to get a barrel
Yeah,
or two burritos full. All right, milk. So I do agree. Dev branch stuff, mega important. I think having two servers would solve that. I think a lot of people that want to just go in there and test the new shit and get the fuck out. I think like a Delta server for that, and then have Bravo just be basic with the new update. Like literally have all the tech, but everything has to be made, everything has to be farmed, no speed up, none of it. I think that's a good idea. So the real guys can get in there and really drain and help get all the bugs out, but then also all the new people can just go test the new shit, or all the people that want to test it can go test the new shit. Milk. Changes you wish to see.
Longer resistance phase times. I beg of you, an extra day or two would go a long way for coalitions and organizations at the beginning of wars.
well, I think that's why they're adding short wars. We might actually see a future where the devs actually just go main war and then short war for like half a week. And
I am
then main war
completely
again.
fine with the length the wars are now, as long as you give us that extra day to regroup, reorganize, and negotiate, especially negotiate with other coalitions and other regiments within our faction. That would be perfect, along with greater length of setup time for resources and stuff. And don't just do every single war we're going to shuffle it up last minute, so everyone is scrambling.
That's something we talked about in Bone that we wish would get changed, is the resource map coming out maybe an hour early instead of having it just be 15 minutes before the war start. That causes more civil wars than anything else, I feel like, dude. People being able to talk it out for a full hour would be way fucking better than 15 minutes and you all motherfuckers are fighting. Like, people get down, they try to set their stuff, people start shooting. It could be resolved if we all just talked it out, you know? And I feel like if it was just set in an hour instead of 15 minutes before, or what, I think it's 15 or 30, right? I think it's 30 or 15. I don't remember which. Either way, I think a full hour would really help that out.
Yep.
Something I would like to see in Foxhole right now. This is kind of an off-brand thing that I haven't really talked about, but something I kind of want for the collies that I think would be really cool is a new submachine gun. And I say that because, you know, I don't want the exact same thing as the Wardens, but they have 2 subs, and the Liar, although is not very good, it is just different variety of gameplay. I would like to get a different submachine gun for the collies. Now, if you say that the pitch gun is a submachine gun, you're a falsehood, you're lying to yourself, you hide in the corner at night.
Sorry. Time out. Have you played with the bitch gun this patch?
Yeah, it's better this patch. After the hit reg is a little better.
It's much better.
It's better.
I just want to say it's about on the level as the Liar, which it's just kind of nice, but it's not as good as the Fiddler, nor should it be. The Fiddler is the premier fucking submachine gun.
I do think all submachine guns feel really good. I'm gonna be honest. The gunplay this war feels a lot. Guns all over the place, to be honest. What they tested in the dev branch, when we got to do that little test, and then to live server, please take our Fiddler. Shut up, dude. You're so stupid. Tankin's a goober. I think all the guns feel a lot better just across the board. Even shotguns, like, I know they got nerfed, but they still feel good. Like, they still feel really good.
All right.
All
right.
Yeah, and you know, I don't feel like there's any real, like, super outliers. I know there's some favorites. I know everyone likes the Fiddler. It's a really good gun. Get over it. It's not OP, dude. We have the Katara. There's a lot of shit on our side that they fucking hate getting sprayed by. Quit crying. I will say, though, I am feeling a little lack of... I would like a new submachine gun in the repertoire for collies. And something I would actually like is something like a little fucking grease gun. And I want it to be like super fucking cheap collie 9mm. That's like, you know, really slow fire rate. Packs a punch. You know, I think a new submachine gun. And that's something Ducky's been talking about and I've been talking about a lot. I think a grease gun style or a little Sten gun kind of thing. Really cheap gun, you know what I mean? And have it be pretty lightweight. I think that would be really good. And that's just a small one. It's not, you know, the balance isn't fucking crazy. I just want a little bit more variety. I feel like, you know, we don't have a super big abundance of variety. I think the main guns we use are shotgun, maybe an Argenti when we're broke, and shotgun, and then Katinas. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the Katara, it feels okay. They nerfed it a while back. The, you know, recoil on it, it's not as beautiful as it used to be. It's okay. It's not anything to write home about. It used to be busted. Don't get me wrong. I think the Dusk is still really good. Still nothing to write home about. If you get in a trench, my God, it's OP, but it's not an all-rounder gun. You know what I mean? And outside the Argenti, Katina, and shotguns, which obviously that's 3 guns I just listed, they're all kind of niche though, right? Like shotguns, they're heavier. Hold on. Hold your horse. Don't freak out, yeah, Legendary. They all hit a niche, right? Like, but the overall thing is, like, I do understand where people are coming from when they talk about the Fiddler being an all-around, just perfect gun. Not perfect, but it hits every single niche. It's full auto, so it can be in trenches. It shoots just as good as a long, almost as long as a rifle, and it has a huge mag capacity. It's a really good all-rounder. We don't have anything that's fully automatic, hits at rifle range, and can go in trenches. We have one that hits every single one of those things. Again, the Dusk can go in trenches and murder. The shotgun can go in trenches. What's that?
Dusk costs armats and weighs 3 times the weight of a fiddler, though.
Well, and so this is what I'm kind of getting at.
Any fiddler enjoyer that immediately says, "Oh, but you guys have the Dusk," needs to like reevaluate their life choices.
Well, and
the Dusk, the
that's
fiddler
why I
is
say.
better.
That's why I say. And again, the Blake Row. It's in a lot of people's opinion, and this comes down to opinion. I still think the Argenti's better because it has a better 2-tap potential. It doesn't shoot as fast, I grant you, but Argenti, Blake Row, they're on a pretty even playing field in my eyes. I think they're both really good, but the Fiddler is the best all-rounder, and I kind of want a new submachine gun to kind of match the range, not the fire rate or mag, and be super cheap. You know what I mean? I just want a full auto gun that can kind of do that, and you know, I don't want the Fiddler to get nerfed though. All honest to God, I don't think it's game breaking. I really don't. I think it's playable around. And trust me, every time you shoot a Warden with a fucking 12 gauge, they still bite and gnaw their fucking teeth, dude. I guarantee it. So, thank you.
My only problem with the Fiddler is cheat and suppress. So it's my only problem with it. Like,
is it the only sub that can?
When a Fiddler goes full, I think the Lion Claw can do it too, but I've never seen an opponent get suppressed by a Lion Claw, and I get suppressed by Fiddlers very, very easily. It's my only problem with a Fiddler is it does literally everything the Dusk does, but better. Like, except I guess the Dusk has better stopping power, but I mean, if you get grazed by a fucking Fiddler, you're bleeding and staggered. Like, you're basically dead. That's my only problem with the Fiddler. It just does everything, and it's lightweight, and it's the best partisan weapon, it's the best frontline infantry weapon, it's the best trench weapon. It just ticks all the boxes. Now, granted, you missed out on one of the strongest colonial weapons in the game right now, which is the Fushina. The Fushina on this patch is bonkers. Now, I previously said that the Fushina was really, really good, but you have to be a line rifleman, not a point and click rifleman.
Yeah,
so a line rifleman is literally you intersect your target with your cursor, and then you aim behind them and you pull the trigger. If you can master that, the Fushina is god tier. And this patch, it was way stronger. So Fushina is really fucking good. It is basically so in my opinion, the balance right now is the Fushina is a better Booker and the Fiddler is a better Dusk. And that's kind of like how they like hang in the balance. And I think that is unfair on the late game weapons for both of them. I think the Booker could be better. I think the Booker should suppress more and have better rapid fire. And the Dusk, I would really like the Dusk just to be like a little bit lighter, just so that I can carry a Dusk and like 2 Ignis. Because right now, if you carry a Dusk, that is your weapon. You don't get anything else. You don't get anything else in your kit. You get like 2 clips and like bandage and maybe a bind and a gas mask and filter.
They're also
That's
really
it.
expensive.
As opposed to, yes, they're really expensive. Whereas the opposite is if you want to be like a super trooper on the Warden side, it's like a Fiddler, 3 clips, and you can still run like a Cutler, or you can still have a rifle with a bayonet attached to it and clips for your rifle, and you're perfectly fucking fine. So it's just, I don't know.
I have a
the Fiddler is just too good of an everything gun.
One problem I really have though
Sorry.
right now. No, you're fine. I kind of interrupted you. So, one problem I really have right now, and I know the ATR has fallen from the God's grace it once was because 20 mil got shot into the shit. I know. Don't get me wrong. But the counterpart to that, the Wardens always got the ATR, and their always thing was you got the Katara. The Katara, in my opinion, because it's a faction-specific thing, it's the only light machine gun. I, like, honestly could give a fuck less when anyone else says. This is my opinion. That thing should be expensive in B mats. That should not cost R mats. I know it's 12.7. I know it's 30 round mag for 12.7. Fuck you. You have the ATR. This is our faction specific thing. You had a faction specific thing. You still have yours for just B mats. Ours should only cost just B mats. And that's like a staple of Colonial Infantry. And I hardly get them on the front anymore. It's my favorite fucking gun. I don't get to run them because they're too fucking expensive to run up there. And it just burns through 12.7. It's so fucking ridiculous. The Katara needs to go back to B mats. I think it's horse shit. It's not. I'm really mad it's not. But other than that, I mean, that's my little bitch rant out of the way. I know you don't like hearing me rant, but I am pretty passionate about that one. That does kind of... No, it doesn't quite. It really pisses me off. That is my favorite gun in the game. I named one of my fucking fish Katara because I like that fucking gun so much. I'm not even joking. It's my fucking brown spotted goldfish over there. His name's Katara. Or it's her. Her name's Katara. Pissed me off to no end when that became our mats.
But by the way, what did you guys think of the Nemesis nerf? And I'm talking about it, the very specific nerf that I fucking hate. How'd you guys feel about the Nemesis nerf?
The
okay.
30%.
No, that's not it. It's the track. The track chance got buffed. What did it get buffed to?
Oh, yep.
What was the buff to?
Nope. I'm not talking about either of those nerfs. Have either of you gentlemen been in a fucking Nemesis yet this
Is
far?
it the sound effect?
It's the fucking dying tractor. Oh god, it sounds horrible. Have you been in the Nemesis? Dude,
I like it, honestly.
what do they do? They made it from I hate it so much. I'm actually never gonna play a Nemesis again. I've never advocated for the sound mod in Foxhole. I might consider it now.
You know what?
Jesus, the Nemesis
I play
sounds
with the sound mod, so
terrible.
I haven't heard that piece of shit yet. So, what did they
dude,
up the track
like,
chance
do
to,
yourself it's like, no, I think they just fixed the bug. You were previously, if you wanted to track the Nemesis, you had to hit the like tire section inside the through the skirts. It was not supposed to be like that. You were supposed to. I think the skirts overlap the hitbox for the track. So now if you hit the skirt, the Nemesis can get tracked. But that was definitely not the nerf that I was speaking of. I was 100% talking about the fucking the stupid the stupid tractor noise about what the Nemesis sounds like. It's so bad.
I haven't
hate
heard
it.
that yet, but I play with the sound mod, like I said. So for me, I haven't even heard it. That'd break my heart though, because it's my favorite tank.
I think that's cool. Personally.
Teach their own.
Yep.
Now, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think, I'm not saying the Kali infantry needs a buff, but do you guys think it needs a little bit better of an SMG? They're a little bit... Do we need an all-rounder, or do you think we have enough guns that hit enough niches? I guess is the way I'm saying. Because, in my opinion, the Warden kit right now, it literally all revolves around that Fiddler, and that's like it or a Blake Row. Like, and if they're really going cheap, they do their basic rifles, but I mean, their whole kit revolves around the Fiddler and their machine guns. That's like 90% of the kit I see from Wardens on any given front. Like, all the time, you will find tons of Fiddlers and you will find LMGs. What do you guys think that the Collies need a better all-rounder, or do you think we have a good enough kit as is? Just a curious question.
I think we need a better all-rounder. I feel like a majority of our kit is different types of rifles.
Okay.
I don't want a win game button. I don't want a win game weapon. The Fiddler kind of feels like it. And I don't want a Collie Fiddler. I'll be honest. I don't mind having more choices, but I think it's the same as like I think that the devs need to take away some of the power of the Fiddler and move it over to some of the Warden late game weapons. I think the Booker needs a love. I think the Booker needs some love. I think the Alto needs to be better. I think the Sampo needs to be better for the Wardens. And then I also think that there are some weapons on the Holly side that could see some better tweaking to make them more viable, like the Omen. No one uses the Omen. The Hangman's an insanely good spot. Like the Hangman is awesome for its one tap potential. I would love to see the Omen as a one tap weapon.
Sorry, go ahead.
To have a Collie Fiddler, as I don't want one. I don't need one. So no, I don't mind having a more all-rounded weapon, but I don't want a weapon that I only mass produce because it's the best thing ever. I mean, we had that with the shotgun last war. We abused the fuck out of it. We only MPF shotguns. We didn't make primary weapons because it was so good, and now it's dead. And now there's a situation where you do and do not need the shotgun, and I kind of like that. And I really feel like that the Fiddler should be the next on the list, and that sort of changes that it needs to do. Yeah. So that's my opinion about having another Collie submachine gun or something.
I guess maybe saying that it shouldn't be an all-rounder. I guess we already had an all-rounder with the Katara. I think the Katara was kind of our all-rounder. It was really good in trenches because it was 12-7, 2-tap. Again, when they nerfed the spread of the gun, like it's an accuracy when you're laying that, like when you're shooting, that was really kind of hurtful, but the gun's still good. It's still usable. I really think if they just change that to BMATs, I think it'd be really good. I think that would solve a lot of... Go ahead.
Sorry. Remind me again. Did the Katara get nerfed because of Moy Dog?
That's one of the things he really hated.
Trying to remember which update was the Moy Dog update. It was the one where the eyes. No, the eye. So what got the Ignifist auto equip got removed and the damage got nerfed. So
That was
trying to remember what it was.
101 or 102, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because I'm fairly sure Moy Dog got the guitar fucked.
Moy Dog stole my Odyssey speed. Don't get me wrong. I actually, believe it or not, you used to hear me complain about the Ignifist day in and day out when the Flask was fucking busted. I actually enjoy our Flask, or not Flask. I enjoy our Ignifist. I think it's really solid. I think it's in a decent spot.
I also actually so hot take. I actually think the Ignifist is in a really good spot.
I do too.
I think for the most part that Colonials didn't know how to use Ignifist correctly. But the best we've had the Ignifist is right now because of the changes to armor shredding. Tank armor gets shredded a lot more, and Ignifists fuck shredded armor. To the point where if I ever get some random flasks off of a Warden, I immediately run back to the bunker base, and I'll keep 2 flasks on me, and then I'll switch to 2 Ignis or 3 Ignis, and I will run at a tank. I'll throw 2 flasks. I'll track with the first one. The second one I'll hit the turret. Both flasks shred armor. I switch to Ignis. I kill the tank, and I've been doing it consistently. So, yeah, no, Ignis are good. Honestly, you said that there would be a nice like all-rounded weapon for the Collies. I wouldn't mind if they added in a earlier version for 20 mil for us, but not at the same as the Neville 20. Like, give us like a short range, high impact 20 mil, like small-ish gun that maybe even like a secondary gun that fires 20 mil.
No, you could do a single shot. You could do like a
single shot. Yeah, like a shoot.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind that, but the only thing that it does effectively, one, it's high risk to use against infantry. Yeah, you could one shot kill infantry with it, but maybe it has like a long reload or something like that. Balance, magic, whatever. But I really wouldn't mind a weapon like that I could puncture some holes inside of a tank's armor so that I can pull out my Ignifist and finish it off. Like, I think it would be cool. Can you imagine like dancing around a tank and just like so you don't get tank bloom. So it would balance like you don't get tank bloom when you hit a tank, but you just like shoot, reload, shoot, reload, shoot, reload. You bring its armor down by 3 ticks, whip out the igni, and then the tank goes. I think that would be fucking cool. And it's asymmetric, and it could be in a pinch. You could use it against infantry, which is kind of like how the igni fist works as well. So
Hey, bro,
I think it'd be kind of sweet.
Igni's actually a fucking amazing infantry dropper, bro. Especially when they're hiding in a trench.
Yes, it is. No.
You can airburst them, bro. Oh my god, it's so clutch. When you just set it right where it's gonna explode.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
When we run train escorts with Argonauts, all Argonauts passengers have 3 ignis on them. That's like standard HVL protocol. So if you run into any of our trains with our escorts, you better be ready to take a fucking igni face to the mouth, because that's how we roll. It's a great.
What else is really good about it? So, like, with every other tank in the game, stickies are, like, the #1 tank killer worrying.
Yep.
Except 2 tanks. What is it for us? Hatchet upgrade makes it speedy boosty. Kerneska and Outlaw or any Outlaw chassis. They'll outrun you. They'll outboost you. They'll outget you. Ignifist.
If they boost W, yeah.
Ignifist, dude. I cannot tell you how many times, like, my boys will be throwing stickies and they'll boost out, and then I get that track shot on them with the Igni. It literally happens all the time. It's just so good. But, dude, it is 8:22 on the 4th of July, gentlemen. I'm going to go watch some fireworks and drink some beers with my family for like an hour or so.
Alrighty.
But I really enjoyed the podcast. I think a lot of it was just over the new update and building and shit. And I know there was some agreeances and disagreeances on some takes, but honestly, I still love having you guys on here. I enjoy talking about Foxhole all the time. Also, we're pulling up on 2.5 hours. I don't think anyone likes watching 2.5 hour podcasts, but I appreciate you guys coming on.
I like
again.
the yap.
Oh yeah, they like the yap, you know, of course. But I appreciate you guys, and I just want to thank you again for coming on. And we'll end it there, boys. Sound good?
Yep.
Appreciate you, gentlemen.
Sounds good.
Thanks, boys.
Later, Brick.